What is going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And today I pose you one question. What is the legacy of Albert Pujols? On this video, we're going to look at the case for Cooperstown for Albert Pujols, whether or not he deserves inclusion in baseball's Hall of Fame now that he has retired. 5 years down the road, when his name joins the ballot, what will be the verdict? So let's get into it. In the world of Major League Baseball, players who retire are categorized into two separate types of classifications: former Major League players and Hall of Famers. This is a case for Cooperstown. When you ask the question about Albert Pujols, it seems like it's a tale of two Pujolses. When we look at the beginning of his career, his Cardinals' first run as a rookie through 3 MVPs, 2 World Series titles, there's very little question that Albert is absolutely incredible. We have a corresponding article on LaracuenteLedger.com that is honestly really covering the fact of Albert Pujols' entire career, so definitely check it out. I will leave links to that down in the show notes in the description below. But in that article, we kind of go through the different stages of Albert's career. Obviously, the Cardinals' tenure from 2001 to 2011 was absolutely incredible. There was no doubt about it. This was a player on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Throughout that time, Pujols would slash .329, .403, .610 in his rookie season with 37 home runs, 130 RBIs, and that would be an OPS plus of 157. League average is 100. Throughout the entire tenure, that first 11 years that Albert Pujols had in Major League Baseball and with the Cardinals, he would slash .328, .420 with .617 slugging, putting up 445 home runs and 1,300 plus RBIs. Albert was the equivalent of 70% better than a league average player throughout his tenure as a St. Louis Cardinal. This is incredible numbers, absolutely historic level numbers. Then we would see his Angels tenure. He would sign a 10-year, $240 million contract with the Los Angeles Angels. And when you really look at it, and we break it down in the article, but it was even more so a tale of two Albert Pujolses during his Angels tenure. Obviously, there was decline from the absolutely astronomical, legendary, historic levels that he was at as a Cardinal. But even more so, in the second half of his Angels tenure, his Angels contract, there was even bigger of a drop-off, an even bigger decline. And it started to ask the question and beg the question, would Albert find himself playing himself out of the Hall of Fame? Spoiler warning, it didn't. But the simple fact is that when you look at his tenure as a Los Angeles Angel, it was very much a albatross to the Angels and to himself, honestly. This was a team that, for all of its added payroll, for all of the fact that they had the greatest player arguably of all time in Mike Trout, they could not win, which is really what matters in this sport. Albert, through the absolute just bottom rock part of that Angels tenure, would be no better. His top season during the second half of his contract for the Los Angeles Angels would max out at an OPS plus of 92. Again, league average is 100. But he would be released. He would sign on to the Dodgers and would get some sort of life boosted back into him during that time. We would see during that Dodgers tenure, it really was just a brief cameo, 85 games. But in that time, we would see a little bit of the spark come back. We would see a little bit of the Albert Pujols of old at times. Yes, it became very apparent that this was a platoon type player. He was still dominating, still crushing left-handed pitching, but right-handers had him beat. Fast forward to 2022. Albert has announced it will be his final season. There was really only one place he could go, and that was back home to St. Louis. And the ride that Albert Pujols took baseball fans on, not even just Cardinal fans, but baseball fans on in 2022 was absolutely incredible. Obviously, the Cardinals didn't get the ultimate send-off for Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina, somebody we're going to cover on later on this year. But there's no doubt about it. The ride that Albert Pujols gave baseball fans and Cardinal fans in this final season of 2022 was unbelievable. There was a ton of just highlight moments, career moments, and the fact is that, you know, we highlighted why Albert had to return to the Cardinals before the season began. You know, I'll leave links to that video as well down in the description below, but there was no question that Albert with the Cardinals was going to have a historic run. Was always a very clutch player, and we would see one of the most significant home runs in our time of this generation take place on September 24th, when Albert would hit his 700th home run.
Pujols sends one in the air. It's deep to left. Taylor's back at the wall. It's 700. Albert Pujols has joined the 700 home run club.
Placing him fourth all time in Major League Baseball history in terms of home runs, behind Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, and Babe Ruth. This is a, no doubt about it in my mind and in my opinion, Hall of Fame player, a first ballot Hall of Famer. This should be a player that, in my opinion, goes down amongst the many that should have gone down as 100%. I'm still annoyed that Ken Griffey Jr. didn't get 100% of the vote. Still annoyed by that. There's no doubt about it that Albert Pujols is that level of player. Oftentimes, his Gold Glove caliber play at the beginning of his career is overlooked and forgotten because of being kind of the elder statesman and not playing that same level of defense. Getting towards the end of his career where he was just mostly DHing. But in my opinion, when you look at his final career numbers, 703 home runs, 2,218 RBIs, placing him second all time behind just Hank Aaron, and a career slash line of 296, 374, and 544 for an OPS plus of 145. There's no doubt in my mind that 5 years from now, when Albert Pujols' name joins the BBWAA, the Baseball Writers Association of America's ballot, he will reach that 75% mark and surpass it by a lot, in my opinion, to join and be elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I want to hear from you guys, though. I want to hear your feelings, your thoughts, your biggest highlights, your most significant Albert Pujols moment in memory. Let me know that down in the comments, or find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, and we can keep the conversation rolling. What we're going to do here is I'm going to give you guys a special promo code for Albert Pujols in honor of Albert Pujols. The code will be Pujols5, and it's going to give you 15% off on our merchandise shop, baseballbanterbroadcast.com. So if you've stuck around to this point, do yourself the favor and head over to the shop and check out some of the different merchandise options that we have there. But let's honor Albert Pujols and his bid for the Hall of Fame. Obviously 5 years down the road, but this is without question, in my opinion, a first ballot Hall of Famer. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know your feelings on Albert Pujols. Where do you think he ranks as one of the all-time greats? Or if he doesn't, let me know that as well. I want to definitely get into a conversation if you feel opposite than I do on Albert Pujols. But again, Let me know. Make sure you subscribe to the Baseball Banter Broadcast, as we have a few more cases for Cooperstown that we're going to be putting through between now and the start of next season. So make sure you keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.